I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. Now, I need you to go to my GoFundMe campaign. I'm going to put a link in the description box below. So I need you to help me fund this channel so I could do this full time instead of part time. And we also need to replace the mainstream media because they are garbage. They're not going to tell you the truth. And me and a lot of other independent media organizations, we are going to give you the truth. So go to my GoFundMe campaign. Alright, and my news story is, and this is from worldsocialistwebsite.org, and it's about how San Diego, like a lot of other places, are failing the homeless population. Alright, San Diego County declared a local health emergency on Friday after the death toll from a hepatitis A outbreak rose to 14, one of the deadliest outbreaks of the disease in the U.S. in decades. The vast majority of the victims, 70%, are homeless and are easily vulnerable to the highly infectious disease. More than 264 people have been hospitalized since the disease was first reported last November. Between 2012 and 2016, San Diego County tallied an average of 20 acute hepatitis A cases for each year. In just the last week, there have been 19 new cases and 32 new hospitalizations, according to the San Diego Tribune. The hepatitis A virus weakens liver function, producing jaundice, nausea, fatigue, and in some cases death. It is usually spread through food or water contaminated with feces and has an incubation period of up to 28 days, meaning people can spread the disease before they are aware they have it. A Center for Disease Control spokesperson says that the cause of the outbreak in San Diego is still unknown. And of course, the city of San Diego and the county of San Diego too really is just abandoning the needs of the homeless people, because if they provided them with at the very least one or two more homeless shelters so the homeless people could actually stay there at least for the night, have somewhere to sleep, and have a facility where they could shower, eat, and wash their hands, and put some of their belongings there too, then this would create at least a more healthy environment for them to be able to just live and try to fix any of their problems that they do have. Ideal situation would be, of course, to just provide homeless people with homes, and then all these homeless people just have a house that they could stay at where they could just have some kind of stability so they could really work on being able to just fix any of the issues they have. But since our governments are just too corrupt to just provide homes for homeless people and for low income people, we are going to keep continuing having issues like these into the future. Okay, because the unsanitary conditions that the homeless are forced to live under have only exacerbated the problem. They don't have a clean water supply to wash their hands, and once they have hepatitis A, then they become a source for another person, said Lumba. Homeless individuals who suffer from drug abuse, alcoholism, and other illnesses are especially at risk of contracting the disease. While public health officials say that washing hands and good hygiene are the best way to prevent the spread of the disease, this is becoming an increasingly difficult challenge for the homeless in San Diego, because the only 24-hour restroom is miles away from downtown San Diego's main homeless encampments. Additionally, it appeared public restrooms in a downtown park were kept locked despite the city paying the park's developers $1.6 million to keep them open and clean. After public outcry over the locked bathrooms, city officials told the developer to keep the bathrooms open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And here's another issue that reveals a corruption in our political system. Because city officials have been aware of the hepatitis A outbreak for over 2 months, have not come up with the real solution besides installing hand washing stations throughout the city. The Brooklyn mayor, Kevin Faulconer, he released a statement about they're going to work to stop the outbreak. It's not too big of an issue with what party he's in, because the Democratic mayor would have done the same shit. Just issued a statement how we're going to fix it and not do a goddamn thing about it. because despite this promise, 11 more people have died in the following weeks and months. Until last week, the city only had 2 hand washing stations, both of which were located miles from the downtown homeless encampments. County workers moved one of the stations downtown last week and reportedly plan to install 30 more. Now, this statement also shows you the priorities of the politicians for the city and the county. Because while the city and county officials have plenty of time and resources to expel the homeless and their belongings off the streets twice a week, the hand washing solution has gone at a snail's pace. The city originally only addressed this crisis with a pilot program for the washing stations before it could be implemented on a larger scale. Yep, and this is a great statement that wraps up the article. The response to the outbreak has illustrated quite starkly how even the greatest and most pressing social problems, such as a deadly disease long thought to be eradicated making a comeback, are treated under capitalism. The most vulnerable layers of the population are met with contempt, if not outright hostility, from the political establishment, if at all. Meanwhile, heads of the major banks and corporations who want an extra stadium or want to clear the streets of the homeless before another tourist convention can easily mobilize city government and cops at a moment's notice. So we need to fight to get money out of politics. So our city officials are actually going to help the homeless instead of just condemn them and just trying to brush them to the fucking side. Because they're not just brushing homeless people to the side, but they're brushing you and me to the side also.